this country has a long history of making people illegal, separating families for hundreds of years. It's time for it to stop. It's going to stop now, and we're not going to stop until it's done, until it's over. And we're not going to let this kind of white supremacist domination of this country continue. So thank you for everybody for being out here, standing in solidarity with our Latinx community. It's time for us to pull together and stand in solidarity and make the kind of change that we really need. So thank you very much for all being here. It's time to abolish ICE.
Hi. I just wanted to tell everybody, I am everyone. I am black, I am brown, I am LGBT, I am Jewish. I'm not Christian, I'll tell you that. But it's time for all of us to get together. Like I said, the white, the black, the yellow, the green, the whatever. Because we have to abolish ICE. And we can't let them detain people. I mean, the children, it's horrible. That made us jump up out there. But you know what it is? It's detaining refugees. It's detaining immigrants, people who want to be free. And that's not what this country is about.
That was Pat Kanzler.
All right, I know we all have a lot to say.
Here's Kelsey
about
Reedy.
This. It'd be cool if there was a little bit more specific of a place for us to gather where ICE actually holds a place, but they don't have a location here, thank God. I mean, I want them to. So this is the closest to, so we want to say goodbye, Homeland Security. So who else has some words to say? We do a song.
Good
Renee
morning,
Salcedo.
everyone. I'm so inspired to see you all this morning. For the past few weeks, I've been feeling pretty depressed about the whole situation. I've been really very sorrowful about hearing those children calling out for their parents, and I just wanted to affirm that's why we're here. And unfortunately, I think we're going to have to be coming out, organizing, doing actions, putting our bodies out on the line for a while, because as we've heard on the news, they're opening up those military bases and prisons and detention camps for entire families. And I wanted to share that on Saturday evening, Centro del Pueblo held a gathering for the immigrant community, and people got to share, how they're feeling right now with all this, because we want our community to feel as empowered as possible. And people were saying, we went through that. Our families went through that. We were separated. We were without our mother. We were forced to live in these detention centers without the ability to even use the bathrooms. And so I just wanted to remind us that a lot of families living here in Humboldt County are experiencing still the trauma of the enforcement, not only on the U.S.-Mexico border, but everywhere. People are afraid still to take their kids to the doctors, to take their kids to school. They're afraid of local law enforcement. They're afraid because they continue to be racially profiled by the police. They're afraid that the police will report them to ICE. This is real. This is not only happening in Texas or Arizona. It's happening in Humboldt County. And that's why we want the Department of Homeland Security here to be out. We don't want anything with their label on it here in this county. And we need a sanctuary law, which we will pass in November. And we need to make sure that we connect all of our issues. Immigrant rights are workers' rights. Immigrant rights are women's rights. Immigrant rights are indigenous people's rights. Immigrant rights are LGBTQ plus people's rights. We're all one family. So I just want to say that there's no better way to wake up to a Monday morning than with you all here. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to let you know the latest update is Brazil still up 1-0 on Mexico. Just want to put that out there. It was a World Cup game going this morning. And thank everyone for coming out here. I was really encouraged from Saturday's attendance that Humboldt County definitely supports this effort to abolish ICE and to keep families together. And as a representative of the Central Labor Council, I want to let you know that our workers are all immigrants. We all stand together with you because this fight is our fight and will continue to be our fight. So that's why we're here today. I also want to encourage you all, I'm sure you're aware of the sanctuary measure, but that's also a defining point here for our community. And if you don't know who's getting involved in trying to pass the sanctuary measure, please contact Renee there and she'll get you in charge there or in contact so you can help out with that. Thanks again, everyone, for coming out this morning.
That's John from Central
John
Labor
from
Council.
Central Labor Council. Thank you.
Richard, do you want to say a few words?
I just want to give a big shout out to Mexico. Yesterday they elected third-party leftist president Andrés Manuel López Obrador. He says no borders, no ICE, and we're going to stand with Mexico and their new leadership to make sure that we change this forever. Thank you.
Can I say something without the microphone because I'm scared to death? I am trying to organize a grassroots effort to get out the vote in the fall, a real get out the vote, particularly with signs at street corners, busy street corners waving. So if anybody is interested in joining that effort, it's not official or anything, it's just a grassroots effort, please talk to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone, please feel free. Is the cord long enough?
I'm here because we as a community build our societies, and ICE did not emerge from the will of the people. It's being imposed on us, and we as communities have the capacity to change that, and we need to keep insisting that we are the makers of our societies. We are the makers of our societies. And that's why we're here, because we're not standing with these things that are imposed on us. And there's other ways, and together we can do that. We can create the societies we want to believe in, and that we do believe in.
Julio? Urbano? Mario? Yeah, let's just you want to say something? All right.
Mi nombre es José Quesada, he vivido en este condado para 46 años y estoy muy orgulloso que tanta gente está aquí peleando para las familias. I've lived here in this county for 46 years. I'm so proud there's so many people here that are fighting for families that are being separated. I take a lot of photos for the Times Standard, so I'm not speaking for the Times Standard, but I'm proud the Times Standard is here covering this. My father came here in 1952 from Guatemala because he was an economics student, and he in his school used to fight against, you don't want to wear military uniforms here. This is Guatemala in 1952, pretty much getting screwed over by the United States and the United Fruit Company. Like we do, we just take resources from other countries. This is what we do, and this is what we continue to do. My father also worked for the United States Embassy. So on one hand, he's fighting against a U.S.-supported government that insists on their students wearing military uniforms. And on the other hand, he used to run around taking PSAs and public announcements from the Guatemalan newspapers to the American Embassy and their little things. They're just a community. He just ran around in his car. So when it became clear that he would never ever be able to work in Guatemala, and because of the threats he had against his wife and my 2 older brothers, well, the U.S. Embassy, they loved my dad, and they made him a U.S. citizen in 5 seconds. He didn't have to cross and risk his life with his family here. Yeah, he left because his future was very bleak there, but he didn't have to do what you guys know many people are doing, to sacrifice their lives here. If a family is willing to risk their life to cross the desert, they are more than welcome to be working in the United States of America. This is how this country was built. California is the 6th largest economy. I take that back. Now the 5th largest economy in the United States, built on the backs of people that were not born in this country. So, I'm so glad you guys are here.
Thank you.
I'll start singing if someone else doesn't come out.
You want to lead us in a chant?
Yeah. Let's say, what about, hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho, ICE has got to go.
We're obviously talking about trauma to our families. This is life and death for our families, not only for migrant families crossing the border and migrant families living here inland, terrorized every day that they will be forcibly separated from their families, but also families like the Lawson family, who lost Josiah, and the city of Arcata and Humboldt County continues to cover it up. Justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. It's all related. It's all connected. It's about how they treat our families. If they're not going to give a shit about our families, we're going to stand up, damn it.
Yes.
So we're honored today to have several people from the Justice for Josiah campaign, including Charmaine, Josiah's mom. And I wanted to, not to put you on the spot, but if you'd like to come up and say a few words. Okay, let's give it up for Charmaine!
Wow, thank you. I wasn't expecting to speak, but thank you, Renee. You guys hear an accent? I am also an immigrant. My grandmother, my family, we're all immigrants. We're from the beautiful island of Jamaica. And I'd like to acknowledge that we do stand on Weot land. And I'm here for not just my son, but also for the immigrant families. Children should not be separated from their families. It is inexcusable. That should not happen. And it's unfortunate that we have a president that does not care about our families. We have a city, Arcata, does not care about my son. And we're not going to tolerate that. And I see all these beautiful families and faces out here, and we are standing up for justice and equality, and we're not going anywhere. We're here to stand. We're here to say this is not okay, and we are going to let our voices be heard. We're going to let our voices be heard. I just know when my grandmother came here back in the early 80s, how hard she worked to get us all here, and how hard we worked to make sure our families had the best. And we were not statistics. I've never been to jail. My children's never been to jail. We are good, hard-working families, just like the families who are trying to come to this country for a better life. And to be separated from families, children. I'm looking at this young man, Renee's son. And just imagine leaving your home, another country for the very first time. And you're on this beautiful country that, you hear beautiful things about. And next thing you know, you're separated. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And it's not okay. So I appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you so very much for standing for my son, standing together, unifying. I'm here with you. I'm not going anywhere either. So whenever you guys need me, please call for me. I'm here to stand with the family. We will not separate children. That is not okay. That is not okay. And we will fight for justice for Josiah. Like I said, I was not prepared to speak, so I'm finished. I'm done. Thank you guys. Thank you so very much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Can we say justice for Josiah?
Justice for Josiah!
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 We need to bring back Tom Parker and put pressure on that Arcata City Council. It's time for us to start registering people to vote at HSU. It's time for us to get these people involved and engaged. We need to bring down that racist statue, the McKinley statue in Arcata. We need to abolish ICE, stop these deportations and separating families. It's time for us to come together and flex our power. It's people power over money power. It's people power over racist power. We're the majority. We can do this together. We have the strength.
Stop the Muslim ban!
No Muslim ban. No more no more prejudice based on religion, on gender, on race, on what country you're from. It's just absurd. It's just absurd, and it's been going on for way too long. This country was founded on it, and we have the power to stop it. So we're going to bring back Tom Parker. We're going to put that pressure on them and force HSU to listen to our voices.
Thank you for showing me that love.
And we're going to make sure that we stop the racism in Humboldt County. There's so much of it. I was surprised to see it. So it's time for us. Yeah.
Zero tolerance. Zero tolerance, Trump.
Yes.
No more human rights abuse. So we have zero tolerance for human rights
Right.
abuses.
No, we have an intolerance for his zero tolerance. We are not going to put up with it. We're not going to put up with it anymore. So, and here's how we can do it. In November, all of Humboldt County, reach out to everybody you know, your families, people at work, and tell them that we want sanctuary.
Yes.
Humboldt County needs to be a sanctuary county. We don't want our law enforcement participating with ICE and deportations. We have the right to do that with our county legislation. So we got to get out and tell everybody. We need to get them registered to vote. And come November, we're going to pass this sanctuary measure, and we're going to make Humboldt a sanctuary county. Someone say.
Say it again.
No papers, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here.
No papers, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. Papers, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No 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 papers, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say, what do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Sanctuary. When do we want it? Now. Woo!
So my name's Giancarlo. I'm the father of that little boy there. And just a couple of things that I want to say. You know, Elie Wiesel, who was at Auschwitz and other places, you know, he was one of the people who wrote about no human being could be illegal. Right? He talked about that from his experiences, because the Jews, for instance, were made illegal. In fact, they were made so illegal that they were exterminated at you know, at an exorbitant rate, and there was a whole structure to do that. Just as there was a structure for massive genocide in our own country and throughout. And so once we start calling people illegal, once we start dehumanizing and creating these terms for people, we have this way of separating ourselves, separating our consciousness from people. And so, and that's one thing I want to just kind of point out, that every time that we meet together like this, every time that we gather in our meetings, every time we're on the phone with each other, we're actually promoting the inclusion of each other. We're promoting the interweaving of each other. We talk about building community, but we're actively building community right now. I mean, in fact, even for the police, it's very possible that even for the police, this is probably dismantling their ability to control us, right? Because we stand together, and we know about our oppressive capitalist structures. We know about our racist structures that are supposed to hold this ideal of America in place. But when we gather like this, we're actively dismantling it. So we dismantle, it's interesting, we dismantle what you would think is a kind of separation, but it's a creative act. When we come together, it's a creative act, and creativity requires a little bit of nice little destruction. Okay? So we need that. And I just wanted to point that out, and thank you all for being here. And okay, who's up next? Who's up next?
I'll save you with them. Hi, my name is Michael. I actually work in the mental health system with children, so I know firsthand what kids go through when they are taken from their parents, the trauma that they have to live with. I work with families in different county or cities around here that have actually experienced racism, and I know firsthand what the kids go through and how long that trauma lasts and what they have to grow up with. So all I have to say is, you know, I come from a grandmother who came here as an immigrant, so I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for America welcoming people to its land. I know I'm so privileged to be on this land because I know it doesn't belong to us. And so all I have to say is, you know, make your voice heard, keep coming out. We can make this a place for sanctuary, for people to feel safe, because Humboldt, I'm not from Humboldt, and I came here because I wanted to feel safe somewhere. And I know we can make that for other people as well. So vote, keep fighting, and get your voices heard. Thank you.
Now's the time to stop playing nice. Occupy, occupy, abolish ICE.
Now's the time to stop playing nice. Occupy, occupy, abolish ICE. Now's the time to stop playing nice. Occupy, occupy, abolish ICE. Now's the time to stop playing nice. Occupy, occupy, abolish ICE. Now's the time to stop playing nice. Occupy, occupy, abolish ICE.
Don't leave me stuck up here with this microphone.
Okay, I don't have the better singing grannies with me, but I'm going to see if I can get everybody to sing along. Our sort of classic When We Make Peace, only what we're going to do is when all the world is safe for kids. When all the world is safe for kids. When all the world is safe for kids. Oh, how I want to be in that number. When all the world is safe for kids. When we make the world is safe for kids. When all the world is safe for kids. Oh, how I want to be in that number. When all the world is safe for kids. When justice rules instead of force. When justice rules instead of force. Oh, I want to be in that number. When justice rules instead of keyboards. When we make peace instead of war. When we make peace instead of war. I want to be in that number. When we make peace instead of war. All the world is safe for kids. When all the world is safe for kids. Oh, I want to be in that number. When all the world is safe for kids. When we get justice for Josiah. Justice for Josiah. Oh, we want to be in that number. When we get justice for Josiah. Do that again. When we get justice for Josiah. We get justice for Josiah. We want to be in that number. When we get justice for my baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are not going to leave me holding this mic.
Who's next? Somebody else. We love you so much.
Ain't gonna let.
Hi, I'm Robin. Trump has said, make America great again. And people have protested the separation of families by saying that's not what America is, who we are. Donald Trump was infamous for his racist attacks on the Central Park 5 children who were accused of violent crime. And it turned out they were innocent. But at the same time that the Republican Trump was blaming those kids being very racist, Hillary Clinton was saying that their kids are just super predators. So this is a bi-party world we live in, United States. And from the very beginning of the genocide of indigenous people and the enslavement of Africans, we have separated families, we've destroyed families. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. My mother was a U.S. citizen, my father Scottish. I lived in Scotland, and I came here when I was 16. People from Scotland also came here in the early days, and so did people from Ireland. England had colonized Ireland and considered them less than human. And so the Scottish and the Irish who came here, they were fleeing hard times. The emergence of capitalism meant that they wanted more sheep in the hills of Scotland for the mills to, technology was being developed, and so they had the clearance acts. So they were kicking people off. They were telling them they couldn't wear their family colors, they couldn't speak Gaelic. Those people came over here with a promise or that they could maybe get some land, and so they bought into that. There was white supremacy that said that white people were better than black people. The indigenous peoples were called savages, and that justified them to be killed. And as we come all the way up here, we have the Chinese Exclusion Acts. We have Filipino men coming over here and not being allowed to bring their families and not being allowed to marry. So the separation of families went on there. We move up to, as I started saying, Trump and Hillary, and we have the prison to pipeline, the school to prison pipeline, and that separated families. And while the disproportionate composition of the prison are disproportionately black and brown and indigenous, there are a lot of poor white people there too. So I think we need to understand that this system, this country has never been really very fair to working class people and people of color.
All right, thank you. Yes, we have a history that is trodden with racism and gentrification and genocide.
I just want to remind everybody about the. I'm calm now. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and scream and jump up and down. The march that we had on Saturday, I couldn't march. I stayed at the info booth and I watched our 5 counter protesters. And one of the things they said was, when people say, well, my grandparent was an immigrant, one of the things they said was, well, now it's illegal. Well, guess what, sweetheart? Criminalizing immigrants is criminalizing a human being, and that's not right. That's all I have to say to those counter-protesters.
Woo! Yes. Laws are not the same as morality, and they have never aligned. All right, so unless we have any other speakers, we're going to call the rally to a close. So I think we got one more. So this is going to be the first of many of these actions. So we hope to see you all continue to show up until things start to change. So we got any more speakers before we take off? One more.
Hi, my name is Jose. I'm the children of immigrants. My father's from Trinidad and Tobago. Recently, last year, when I went with him to visit Trinidad and Tobago, see all my family, on the way back, we were standing in line, and we were separated because there's a line for immigrants and there's a line for people with U.S. citizenship. He just disappeared, literally. They just took him, and I didn't see him for hours. It was the most terrifying feeling ever. It was literally just, the line got separated, and I didn't see him anymore. There was nowhere I could call. There was no one I could talk to. They literally were just like, oh, there's no office you can talk to. So I just sat in the airport in Miami and just waited. Luckily, it worked out, but for a lot of people, it's not like that. So for me, I understand that it's not really a choice of if I can help or this will come for me next. They'll come for all of us next. We have to know that, like, just to watch someone else get hurt or watch someone else and go, well, what did they do to deserve it? You don't want that same feeling what's happening to you. So just continue to, thank you for everyone coming out, and just continue to come out, and more than that, challenge the narratives that are being put out. Yeah. Because the idea talking to the counter protesters, they really didn't have much rationale. Like, if you just kept talking to them, they kept contradicting themselves. So if you just, they might not be able to reach, but some of your friends or family members who have ideas that align with that somewhat, because they might watch a lot of the media, because it's just pumped into us nowadays, a fear of other. So talk to them, because a lot of people here with white privilege, they love you. They're your family members. They're your friends. They're not going to hate you for saying something that they don't like. But people of color, they will hate them, and they'll hold it as an attack on their power and feel defensive and possibly do something about it. So please just thank you for coming out and continue to use your privilege to help. Thank you.
Abolish ICE! 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 Abolish ICE!
I just have two quick things to share, and one is that if people are looking for like a tangible thing that you can do, I know that Surge National, Showing Up for Racial Justice, the national organization, is mobilizing a list of people who can take families or individuals who are able to be sponsored out of immigrant detention. So if you have space in your home or on your property and you would be willing to sponsor somebody, you should get in touch with Surge National. And secondly, just in case anybody thinks that like this can't happen here and that we're somehow immune to it because we're in Humboldt County, we've recently been informed by somebody who works at a local tire company that there have been 4 new vehicles brought in that belong to Homeland Security and ICE, brand new vehicles here in this town getting new tires, and to me that indicates that they're getting ready to get active here. So that's scary, and we should all know that that's happening. So thank you.
All right, one more announcement. We got a couple more announcements.
Howdy folks, my name is David Cobb. I'm a member of this community and I'm so honored to actually be here for just a hot second. And the reason that I've actually asked for the mic is because we know the interconnectedness between white supremacy, imperialism, patriarchy, and capitalism. We actually have an understanding of that. And I believe that in this historic moment, as capitalism is coming to its end and evolving into fascism, we are in a moment of historic conjuncture. Which side are you on? We are either, as Rosa Luxemburg presciently said, going to exist in socialism or barbarism. And so I will invite you, if you'd like to go deep on understanding both the history, understanding not just the interconnectedness, but a type of intentional strategic thinking that serious revolutionaries do. Myself, Melissa Figueroa from UC Berkeley, Emily Kawano of the Solidarity Economy Network from Boston is coming July 14th. Thank you to our brothers and sisters and others that don't identify as either brothers or sisters, but our entire family in the labor movement for opening the Labor Temple to us July 14th, 10 a.m. I have flyers if you were interested in going deeper and further with us at Cooperation Humboldt, because I'll conclude with this. Y'all, I'm a straight up revolutionary. And I think that we need to normalize that conversation. We need to make it clear that we have got to restructure this entire thing. The idea of piecemeal reforms one at a time on such a toxic, horrific system will not work. And the thing is, even if it once worked, it can't work anymore. At this moment of historic conjuncture, we are going to win everything or nothing.
We'll beat the fascists once, we'll beat them again!
All right. I understand there was another person making their way. Thank you. If you want information, come see me.
Did you have an announcement too? Okay, perfect.
Just two things. Firstly, I just want to remind everyone there's ongoing occupations of ICE facilities in LA and Portland right now. Going strong. And the other thing I want to say is I saw online in Philadelphia, there was a group that circulated some posters. They said, like, be aware, beware. And they had pictures of the ICE agents that were active in that area with their names. And so I was just throwing that out there, that that's something we could think about doing here, of like basically identifying and postering with the ICE agents that are active in this area.
Okay, so on that note, thank you. So anyone, we have a rapid response network here, and that is a team of community members who are training other community members to show up to observe ICE. So we have a hotline that if ICE is seen, there's a number that everybody should know to call to report ICE, and then that way we can send out an alert, and everyone who's been trained as a responder and an observer can show up and observe and document what it is that ICE is doing and how it is that they're treating our community members. So we want to know where they're at, what it is they're doing, and how it is they're interacting again with our community members. And so if you want to be trained as a responder and an observer, you can contact either me or Emily. Yeah, so there's those events coming up. We have trainings about once a month. What? Do you want to say the number? Yes. Yes. Well, I don't know it. The number's coming. I don't know it either. I'm not gonna act like I know it by heart, but I have it on a card. Okay. Pull out your phones. I need everybody to save this number.
Remember it. It might be good.
Yeah. If you're good enough to remember that. Okay. So if you see ICE, please call this number because it's a community response. So it won't be the police. It will be the community responding for the community. The number is 707-282-5226. And just so you know, there's rapid response networks throughout the entire California. So like if you're traveling, I'm sorry, am I not speaking up? Okay, sorry. Oh, the number? Yeah. So 707-282-5226. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other rapid response networks, so if you're ever traveling and if you know somebody who might be possibly undocumented in traveling, it's good to, we normally have these cards. I'm sorry I ran out because of the rally, but I will try to get them to community centers and more places. Thank you. Awesome. So that is just one of the ways that people can get involved and plugged in here. There are also, we're having a huge movement for Justice for Josiah, and we're doing a lot of work towards that. So if anyone wants to get plugged into that, feel free to, you can contact me, I guess. And on the Facebook, yeah, so the Justice for Josiah Facebook, you could also talk to Charmaine. And also, we're still doing movement work on getting the statue removal. That is not down yet. We're going to have to do some voter registration and some education because folks were unfortunately voting on that in November. So yeah, lots to get involved in, and yeah, I guess we'll just end on stay positive, stay plugged in, and stay showing up in solidarity with each other's work, because as David had said, you know, this is intersectional. These are all overlapping, and it's all the same basis of oppression that's getting us. So thank you all for being here.
We had every intention this morning of going inside the building and telling Department of Homeland Security directly that they're not welcome in Humboldt County. But guess what? They didn't open their offices this morning. So thanks to you, your first accomplishment today is that you shut them down for a day. And that is something to celebrate. And we will be back, Department of Homeland Security, because we don't want you here. We don't want you terrorizing our families. We don't want you reminding us what you represent and what you symbolize. Here in Humboldt County, we are a sanctuary county already, no matter what happens in November. And we do care about all our families. So thank you. Thank you for making all the connections today. That immigrant rights is about workers' rights. It's about people of color rights. It's about Muslim rights. It's about family rights. We care about our families, even though you are doing everything in your power to dehumanize us. So when I'll give a shout out and you respond for the children.
For the children.
Okay, do it one more time.
time for the children. Deporten a la migra.